Are you a professional who wants to become a more effective leader? Then get ready for daily tips from the coach with the experience and inspiration to help you succeed in any leadership situation. You're listening to the Meeting Leadership Podcast with Gordon Shepherd.
Welcome to another episode of the Meeting Leadership Podcast, where we help you get the tips and the inspiration that you need to build your leadership skills and learn how to run outstanding meetings. And today on the show, it's the kind of episode that I wish I'd had when I became a manager and worked in the corporate world. It would have been a real help to learn what you're going to learn today. Because today, we're going to talk about how leaders can remain calm during heated meetings. And to help you learn how to do this, we're bringing back guest expert Kathy Archer from Silver River Coaching. Now, many of you may remember Kathy from episode 50 on the Meeting Leadership Podcast. It was called How to Control Your Emotions in a Meeting. And Kathy gave us a whole bunch of great tips there that you can take right away and apply. And today, she's going to do the same thing. And I'm not going to hold back any longer. Here's the interview with Kathy Archer. Kathy, it is great to have you back here on the show. Back in episode 50, it was sort of value bomb after value bomb after value bomb. We got so much great information. We really appreciate that you're on that episode. But for many of the people that are listening to you for the first time, they don't know who you are. Please take a second to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Gord. Glad to be back. My name is Kathy Archer, and I am a leadership development coach, and I come to the world of coaching from the world of leadership. And so I spent many years as a leader, learned many of the things that have helped me to excel as a leader, but also learned many of the things that caused me some grief as a leader. And one of them was that sense of overwhelm, that sense of imposter syndrome as primarily a woman leader, because I coach women leaders in Canada's nonprofits. So I come back now as a leadership development coach, helping these women learn to navigate all that's going on inside of themselves, regain their sense of confidence in themselves so that they can move from surviving to thriving in both their leadership and their life.
Well, and in this day and age, you can't get enough of what you're doing to help float all the boats, in a sense, to get people coming up to that parity level where we really need to go. And I always say I wish that we were in that Star Trek episode, 1,000 years from now, when this male-female issue was not a focused issue. But the fact that you're doing the work that you're doing, helping women leaders at this time, you just can't get enough of that kind of thing. And I know before the show, we're going to talk about the very specific topic that we're going to deal with today, and that is how leaders can remain calm during heated meetings. Now, this is high-level stuff. This is pro-level athlete stuff. What's the first thing that you want people to know about when you help them in this area?
That I've been there, first and foremost. I think one of the things that people need to know is it's real. It's real for leaders that there are tons of heated meetings. The issue that we struggle with when we go into meetings is that we come into meetings with an agenda. And that agenda, however, is often a task-focused agenda. And when we primarily only focused on a task-focused agenda, we're missing so much of what's going on in the meetings. And that's the relationship component. And we look at why do meetings get hot? It's because there's something going awry with relationships.
And when you say relationships, what are you trying to focus on?
What I'm trying to focus on is the people in your team and you are people. We're not problems. We're not things that need to be fixed all of the time. And often we look at a meeting as an opportunity to solve or fix a problem. But meetings are actually about building relationships. And so if we can look at what is it we're trying to do with the people on our team or on this project or whoever we're meeting with in terms of strengthening our relationships, growing and developing people, finding shared values, goals, that kind of stuff.
This is so important, and it's funny, that's not reflected in the to-do list on the actual agenda itself.
Nope, not very often.
And I really appreciate that you're talking about building relationships. When you're helping the leaders that you help, what are some of the practical things that you give them, tools to help them do just that?
First and foremost, I want them to, what I said in the last podcast episode, prepare for meetings. We create agendas, but what I want you to also prepare is an agenda that focuses on that relationship building. If you're a leader in an organization or on a team, part of your primary role is to grow and develop people. And so I want you to develop an agenda with that in mind. what is it that this person's strengths are? What is it that you are looking to develop in your team this time? Maybe you're looking to get better at brainstorming together and being non-judgmental as you're throwing out ideas. Maybe you're looking at developing some creativity and innovation. But create an agenda outside of that meeting, before that meeting, so that you're looking at what is it we're trying to do with the people on this team.
And this great idea about developing this outside agenda really is going to be helpful, I can see, for the individuals that are in the room. When you add all this together, what's the overall impact on a team when you take this approach?
The overall impact is pretty powerful. We talk about organizational culture and team culture all the time. And that's ultimately what we're focused on here. If your culture is toxic or negative, that overflows into meetings. But when you can start to look at preparing ahead of time for what kind of culture you want to create in that meeting, then you're going to have that impact on the individuals and the whole organization going forward.
Well, and for leaders, what I can hear in what you've said, and the big takeaway from me, in terms of attitude adjustment in this interview, is this idea of it's not a task list when you're walking in the room. It really is a relationship building opportunity.
Absolutely. That's the biggest key takeaway that people need to highlight.
Kathy, this is gold for any leader that's listening to this. I hope they're able to go out today immediately in their next meeting and practice this and really keep it in mind. And that's going to definitely help them to remain calm during any heated situation. Kathy, thanks for being on the show.
You're very welcome, Gord. Thanks for having me.
I have to say that one of the biggest takeaways for me from doing that interview is the fact that meetings are more than about tasks. They are about relationships. And if you can focus on relationships first, then there's a good chance that you're going to run a highly productive meeting. And of course, thanks to Kathy for offering a free download. And you can get that download for this episode by going to silverrivercoaching.com/meeting leadership podcast. And if you'd like to get in touch with Kathy directly, then visit silverrivercoaching.com. And like I mentioned at the top of the show, you can get more great tips and information and inspiration from Kathy on episode 50 of the Meeting Leadership Podcast. It was called How to Control Your Emotions in a Meeting. And you can get that episode by going to meetingleadershipinc.com/50. And I also want to let you know that Kathy's going to be on again in episode 83, and that one's called Inspiring Leadership Stories with Kathy Archer. Now there, she's going to share a great story about someone that she worked with and took that leader from 80 hours a week down to a controlled week where that leader learned how to be authentic, lead from themselves instead of trying to do what other leaders were doing. It's a great episode. And I hope you take a moment to go find it at meetingleadershipinc.com/83. And I also want to let you know that this episode of the Meeting Leadership Podcast is brought to you by the Meeting Leadership Academy. There are so many great things going on there in terms of live training and online training for you and your team to help you grow your leadership skills and learn how to run outstanding meetings. And you can learn more about that by visiting meetingleadershipinc.com/academy. And as always, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Meeting Leadership Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Meeting Leadership Podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more strategies to help you become an outstanding leader. And don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you fresh content every day. We'll see you tomorrow, right here on the Meeting Leadership Podcast.
I'm on top of the world, now I'm living, and the good just gets better, keeps on giving, not even close to the